Mami Wata, leave me make I marry the woman I love.
Never! I gave you wealth. You belong to me now!
Our elders warned us about stories like this. In many African villages, there are rules passed down through generations. Rules meant to protect, not to frighten. This is one of those stories. There are spirits that walk among us. Spirits older than memory, more powerful than kings, more beautiful than anything your eyes have ever seen. And the most dangerous of them all lives in the water. Her name is Mami Wata. She can make you the richest person in your village. She can give you beauty that makes everyone fall at your feet. She can grant you power beyond your wildest dreams. But here's what they don't tell you until it's too late. Once Mami Wata chooses you, you belong to her forever. And the price she demands is higher than any mortal should ever have to pay. If you value the stories our elders warned us about, remember to subscribe. Our tale begins in a fishing village called Bonny, nestled along the coast where the great rivers meet the Atlantic Ocean. This village thrived on the water. The men were fishermen, the women sold fish in the markets. Children learned to swim before they learned to walk. The water gave them everything. But the water also took. Every generation, someone would disappear. Sometimes a fisherman who ventured too far, sometimes a young woman washing clothes at the river's edge, sometimes a child who swam out beyond the safe waters. The elders knew why. Mami Wata was choosing her servants. In this village lived a young man named Chiki, 22 years old, strong as an ox, handsome as the morning sun. But Chike had one problem that ate at him like a disease. He was poor, desperately, humiliatingly poor. His father had died when he was young, leaving nothing. His mother worked her fingers to bone, selling the few fish Chike could catch, but it was never enough. They lived in the smallest hut in the village. They ate once a day if they were lucky. Their clothes were patches upon patches. And Chike watched as other young men his age prospered. Men with inherited boats, men whose fathers had left them fishing grounds and trading connections, men who could afford to marry the beautiful girls, while Chike couldn't even afford the bride price for the plainest woman in the village. But here's what made Chike different from other poor young men. Here's the secret that would seal his fate. Chike wasn't just ambitious. He was willing to do anything, pay any price, make any deal to escape his poverty. And when you are willing to pay any price, something always comes to collect. One night, Chike couldn't sleep. The hunger in his belly was too sharp. The shame was too heavy. He walked down to the beach, sat on the sand, and stared at the moonlit water. I would give anything, he whispered to the waves. Anything to escape this life. I would sell my very soul if it meant my mother could eat well. If it meant I could hold my head high. If it meant I could be somebody. The words hung in the salty air, and the water listened. Chike didn't notice it at first, the way the waves had stopped their random pattern and begun moving in perfect rhythm, the way the moon seemed brighter, more focused, the way the entire ocean had gone silent except for one sound, a woman singing. The most beautiful voice Chike had ever heard, sweeter than any instrument, more perfect than any human throat could produce. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, from the water and the air and inside his own head. And it was calling his name, Chike, Chike, Chike. Chike stood up, his heart pounding. He should run. Every instinct screamed at him to run back to the village, to safety, to his mother's hut. But he didn't run, because there, rising from the water like the moon rising from the horizon, was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. She was tall, taller than any human woman. Her skin was the color of deep water, shifting between black and blue and green, depending on how the moonlight hit it. Her hair flowed down her back in waves that moved like living water. Her eyes were luminous, like pearls catching light in the darkness. And she wore nothing but jewelry, shells and pearls and gold that seemed to grow from her skin rather than rest upon it. Chike fell to his knees, not because he chose to, but because his legs simply gave out. The woman smiled, and Chike's breath caught in his throat. Chike, she said, and her voice was the singing he'd heard, but now it formed words. You called out to the water. You said you would give anything. I am here to accept your offer. Who are you? Chike managed to whisper. The woman stepped fully onto the beach, and Chike saw that from the waist down, she had a fish tail, a magnificent tail covered in scales that sparkled like diamonds. But as she moved toward him, the tail shimmered and transformed into 2 perfect human legs. She stood before him, towering and beautiful and terrifying. "I am called many names," she said. "In some places, they call me Yemoja. In others, La Sirene. The Europeans call me the mermaid. But in your language, in your tradition, you know me as Mami Wata, mother of waters, queen of the rivers, goddess of wealth and beauty. And I have come to make you an offer, Chiki." Chike's mind was racing. He'd heard stories of Mami Wata his entire life. The elders warned children about her. They said she seduced men and women both, luring them into her underwater kingdom, never to return. They said those who made deals with her became rich beyond measure, but paid terrible prices. They said she was beautiful beyond description and cruel beyond imagination. And here she was, standing before him, offering him everything he had ever wanted. "Who do you want from me?" Chike asked, his voice shaking. Mami Wata laughed, and the sound was like water over stones. "The question is not what I want from you, Chike. The question is what you want from me, and more importantly, what you are willing to give in return. Tell me, Chike, do you want wealth? I can fill your nets with more fish than you can carry. I can show you where the old shipwrecks rest, full of gold and treasures beyond counting. Do you want power? I can make you the greatest fisherman on this coast. Chiefs will seek your counsel, men will fear you, women will desire you. Do you want love? I can make any woman you desire fall helplessly, desperately in love with you. I can give you everything, Chike, everything you've ever dreamed of. All you have to do is say yes." "But what's the price?" Chike asked, and even through his fear and desire, some small voice of caution spoke. Mami Wata's smile grew wider. "Smart boy, most people forget to ask that question until it's too late. The price is simple, Chike. You will belong to me." "What does that mean?" "It means you will be mine, my servant, my devotee, my chosen one. You will keep a shrine to me in your home. You will offer me gifts. You will honor me above all others." "That's all?" Chike asked, relief flooding through him. "That's the price? I just have to worship you?" Mami Wata's eyes glittered in the moonlight. "And one more thing, Chike, you may never marry a mortal woman. You may take lovers if you wish, but you may never truly commit your heart to anyone but me, for you will be my husband in the spirit realm, and I do not share. If you break this rule, everything I give you will be taken away, and more than that, much more than that will be taken as well. But keep your promise, honor our bargain, and you will live a life of wealth and comfort beyond your imaginings. So, Chike, do we have a deal?" And here's where Chike made his fatal mistake. Here's the moment that would define the rest of his life and haunt him beyond his death. Because even though warning bells were ringing in his mind, even though he knew this was dangerous, he looked back at his village, at his mother's tiny hut, at his empty nets, at his wasted life. And he said, "Yes, I accept," he whispered. Mami Wata's smile was triumphant. "Then come, my husband, swim with me, seal our bargain." She walked backward into the water, her hand extended toward him. Chike followed, as if in a trance. The water was warm, welcoming. It reached his knees, his waist, his chest. Mami Wata pulled him close, and before he could think or breathe or reconsider, she kissed him. And the world exploded in sensation. Colors Chike had never seen, sounds beyond human hearing, the feeling of power rushing through his veins like lightning. He could breathe the water as easily as air. He could see in the darkness as clearly as day. And he understood. This was her world, the underwater realm where Mami Wata reigned as queen, a place of impossible beauty and terrible danger. He saw her kingdom, palaces made of coral and pearl, gardens of seaweed that swayed in rhythm to music only they could hear, creatures that should not exist, beautiful and monstrous in equal measure. And he saw her other servants, men and women from every generation, every century, every culture that had ever lived by the water. Some served willingly, their faces ecstatic, others looked trapped, their eyes hollow with regret. All of them belonged to her. All of them were hers forever. And now, so was he. When Chike awoke the next morning, he was lying on the beach. The sun was rising. For a moment, he thought it had all been a dream, but then he looked down on his hand. There on his finger was a ring, not made of any metal he recognized. It seemed to be made of water that had somehow become solid, constantly moving but never melting. Inside it, he could see tiny scenes playing out, underwater kingdoms, Mami Wata's face, his own reflection. He tried to pull it off. It wouldn't budge. Chike stumbled back to his village, his mind reeling. He went to his mother's hut, ready to tell her everything, to ask for help, to beg the elders to break the bargain. But when he arrived, his mother was standing outside with tears of joy streaming down her face. "Chike," she cried, "come and see, it's a miracle." She led him behind their hut where they kept their fishing nets. Chike had left them empty the night before. Now they were full, not just full, overflowing. The finest fish he'd ever caught, more fish than the entire village caught in a week, fish worth a fortune in the market. "How?" her mother whispered. "How is this possible?" And Chike knew. Mami Wata had already begun keeping her end of the bargain. The question was, could he keep his? But here's what Chike didn't know yet. Here's the terrible truth that would only reveal itself slowly, painfully over the years to come. Mami Wata's gifts always came with hidden costs. Costs that weren't mentioned in the bargain. Costs that destroyed lives and shattered souls. And Chike was about to learn every single one of them. Within a month, Chike became the most successful fisherman in Bonny village. His nets were always full. He knew exactly where to cast them, as if something whispered in his ear. He never came back empty-handed, never had a bad day, never struggled. The other fishermen noticed, of course. At first, they were happy for him. Poor Chike, finally getting some luck. But as weeks turned to months, and Chike's success never wavered while theirs fluctuated with the normal rhythms of the sea, happiness turned to suspicion. "How does he do it?" they whispered. "What's his secret? It's not natural." But Chike kept his mouth shut and his head down. He sold his fish, made good money, and within 3 months had built his mother a new hut, a proper one with a strong roof and solid walls. His mother wept with gratitude. Finally her son was successful. Finally, their suffering was over. If only she knew the price. 6 months after his bargain with Mami Wata, Chike had saved enough money to buy his own boat. Not a borrowed canoe, but a real fishing boat. He hired other men to work for him. He expanded his operations. Within a year, he was the wealthiest young man in the village. Within 2 years, he was wealthier than men twice his age. He bought land, he built a large compound, he dressed in fine clothes, he ate rich food. Everything he had ever dreamed of was coming true. But he honored his bargain. In the innermost room of his compound, he kept a shrine to Mami Wata. A beautiful shrine with expensive offerings, perfumes and jewelry and fine fabrics. He went there every night and poured libations to her. He spoke to her in the darkness, and sometimes she answered. Sometimes he would find her sitting on his bed when he entered his room. She would smile that dangerous smile and say, "You have done well, my husband. Keep honoring me and your fortune will continue to grow." Other times, he would dream of her, of swimming in her underwater kingdom, of her hands on his body, of pleasures that made mortal love seem like a pale shadow. He belonged to her completely. And he hadn't minded, not at first. But then he met Adaeze. Adaeze was the daughter of a cloth merchant from a neighboring village. She came to Bonny to sell her father's wares in the market. She was beautiful, yes, but not supernaturally so. She was kind, she was funny, she was smart. And when she smiled at Chike in the marketplace, something in his chest ached in a way it never had before. They began talking, just casual conversation at first, then longer talks, then walks along the beach, then sitting together, watching the sunset. Chike told himself it was harmless. He wasn't breaking his bargain, he was just making a friend. But his heart knew the truth. He was falling in love. For 6 months, Chike courted Adaeze in secret. He knew he was playing with fire. He knew the rules of his bargain, but for the first time since making his deal with Mami Wata, he felt truly happy. Not wealthy happy, not successful happy, but genuinely, deeply, humanly happy. Adaeze made him laugh. She challenged his thinking. She didn't care about his money. In fact, she had no idea how wealthy he'd become. She just liked him. Him, Chike, the person. It was intoxicating. One evening, as they sat on the beach watching the stars, Adaeze turned to him. "Chike," she said softly, "I need to tell you something. My father has received many offers for my hand in marriage. Rich men, powerful men, men who can give me a comfortable life." Chike's heart sank. "But I've refused them all," Adaeze continued, "because my heart belongs to you. If you want me, if you'll have me, I will marry you and no other." Chike should have said no, should have explained that he couldn't marry, should have walked away right then. Instead, he pulled her close and kissed her. "Yes," he whispered. "Yes, I'll marry you. Nothing will keep us apart." It was the second biggest mistake of his life. The first was making the bargain with Mami Wata. That night, Chike returned home with his heart soaring. He would find a way. He would break the bargain somehow. Maybe if he gave back all the wealth, if he renounced everything, Mami Wata would release him. He entered his compound and walked toward his bedroom. The moment he stepped inside, the temperature dropped 20 degrees. Water began seeping up through the floor, pooling around his feet. And there, sitting on his bed, was Mami Wata. But not the beautiful, seductive Mami Wata he'd grown used to. This was Mami Wata in her true form. Her eyes glowed with cold fury. Her hair whipped around her head like angry serpents. Her beauty became terrible, terrifying. When she spoke, her voice shook the walls. You dare break our bargain?" "I haven't broken anything," Chike stammered. "I haven't married her." "But you plan to. I can see it in your heart. I can smell it on your skin. You have given your love to a mortal woman. You have forgotten who you belong to." Chike fell to his knees. "Please," he begged, "please, I'll give back everything. The money, the success, all of it. Just let me go. Let me live a normal life." Mami Wata's laugh was like ice cracking. "You think you can just give it back? You think bargains with the divine work like transactions in the marketplace? You swore yourself to me, Chike, body and soul, forever. And now you will learn what happens when mortals break their word to the gods." She vanished, leaving only water on the floor. Chike spent that night in terror, waiting for whatever punishment would come. But morning came and nothing had happened. His nets were still full, his wealth remained intact. Everything seemed normal. Maybe she had forgiven. Maybe she had been bluffing. He went about his day, meeting with his workers, checking his businesses. Everything was fine. Until he returned home that evening and his mother was waiting for him, her face grey with shock. "Chiki," she whispered, "something terrible has happened. It's Adaeze." His blood ran cold. "What about her?" "She's sick, terribly sick. It came on suddenly this afternoon. The healers don't know what's wrong with her. She's burning with fever, but her skin is cold as ice. She won't wake up. She keeps whispering about water, about drowning, about a woman with a fish tail pulling her down." Chike ran. He ran faster than he ever ran in his life to Adaeze's family compound. She was lying on a mat, exactly as his mother had described. Fever hot, but ice cold. Eyes closed, but mouth moving, whispering. "The water. She's pulling me. I can't breathe. So deep, so cold." The healers had tried everything. Nothing worked. Chike immediately knew what was happening. Mami Wata was punishing Adaeze for his betrayal. He ran back to his compound, to his shrine. He fell on his face before Mami Wata's altar.
Please, he screamed. Punish me, not her. She's innocent. She knows nothing about our bargain. The water in the shrine's bowl began to ripple. Mami Wata's face appeared in its surface. Innocent? She said coldly. She stole what belongs to me. She tried to take my husband. There is nothing innocent about that. I'll do anything, Chike wept. Anything. Just let her live. Let her go. Anything? Mami Wata's smile was cruel. Then here is my offer. Renounce her. Publicly. Go to her family and tell them you have no interest in marrying her. Break her heart completely. Humiliate her before her family and yours. Do this and I will release her from the sickness. Refuse and she will die slowly, drowning in dry air over the next 7 days. You have until sundown to decide. Chike spent that night in agony. He loved Adaeze, truly loved her. The thought of humiliating her, breaking her heart was unbearable, but the thought of her dying because of him was worse. By dawn, he had made his decision. He went to Adaeze's family compound. Her father, her brothers, her mother all gathered. Adaeze was still unconscious, still whispering about water. Chike stood before them, his heart breaking. I have come to say that I cannot marry Adaeze. I have no feelings for her. She has misunderstood our friendship. I have no interest in her as a wife. The family stared at him in shock. But you pursued her, her father shouted. You courted her. You told her you loved her. I was merely being kind, Chike lied, and each word was a knife in his own chest. She is pleasant enough, but not suitable for a man of my status and wealth. I plan to marry someone more appropriate to my station. Adaeze's mother began to weep. Her brothers looked murderous. Her father's face turned purple with rage. Get out, he roared. Get out before I forget you are a guest and beat you like the dog you are. Chiki left, his soul in pieces. But it worked. Within an hour, Adaeze woke up. The fever broke. The cold vanished. She sat up, confused but healthy. She asked for Chiki. Her family told her what he had said, and Adaeze's heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. For 3 days, Chiki stayed in his compound, unable to face the world. He had saved Adaeze's life, but at the cost of her love, her happiness, her dignity. On the 4th day, Mami Wata appeared in his room. You did well, my husband, she purred, all sweetness and seduction again. You chose correctly. You remembered who you belonged to. She ran her fingers through his hair. Let this be a lesson to you, Chiki. You are mine, forever. Accept this, embrace this, and we will be happy together. Fight it, and everyone you love will suffer. But don't worry, I am not a cruel mistress. I reward loyalty. Your wealth will double, your power will grow, you will have everything a man could want. Everything except love. Everything except freedom. Everything except his soul. But the story of Chiki and Mami Wata doesn't end there. In fact, it was only beginning, because Mami Wata's influence over his life would grow stronger with each passing year. And the prices she would demand would become higher and higher until Chike was left with nothing but wealth and an empty, broken heart. Let me tell you what happened next. 10 years passed. Chike became the richest man in the entire coastal region. He owned dozens of boats. He employed hundreds of workers. He had trading partnerships across the ocean. Chiefs sought his advice. Kings invited him to their courts. But he was utterly alone. He had tried several times over those years to love again. Each time, the same pattern repeated. He would meet a woman, they would grow close, and then Mami Wata would intervene. Sometimes with sickness, like with Adaeze. Sometimes with accidents. A woman he'd been courting would fall from a ladder and break her leg the day before their wedding.
Sometimes with mysterious disappearances, a woman would simply vanish and Chike would dream of her swimming in Mami Wata's underwater kingdom, transformed into another servant. The message was clear. He belonged to Mami Wata and she would tolerate no competition. But the worst part wasn't the loneliness. The worst part was watching what his wealth did to his family and his village. His mother had died 3 years after his bargain, never knowing the truth. In her last moments, she had thanked him for making her final years comfortable. If only she had known the price. His cousins had become greedy, constantly asking for money, resenting him when he refused, accusing him of pride and selfishness. The village had changed too. Other fishermen grew jealous. Some accused him of witchcraft. Others simply avoided him, sensing something wrong, something unnatural about his success. He had wealth, but he had lost community. He had power, but he had lost connection. He had everything, but he had nothing that mattered. On the 10th anniversary of his bargain, Chike went to the beach where it had all begun. He sat in the same spot, looked at the same water. "I want out," he said to the waves. "I fulfilled our bargain for 10 years. Please, let me go." The water rippled and Mami Wata emerged, as beautiful and terrible as ever. "Let you go?" she laughed. "Oh, my sweet Chiki, you still don't understand, do you? Our bargain wasn't for 10 years. It was forever. You are mine until the day you die. And even then, even in death, your soul will come to my kingdom. You will serve me in the afterlife as you serve me now. There is no escape, my husband. There never was." "Then kill me now," Chike said quietly. "I don't want to live like this anymore." Mami Wata's expression softened, became almost pitying. "I could kill you," she said, "but I won't, because I am not finished with you yet. You see, Chike, you are my greatest success, my perfect servant. I have shown you, and through you, I show all mortals what happens when they make bargains with the divine. You are my warning to others, and warnings must be seen to be effective. So you will live a long, long life. You will accumulate more wealth than you can spend. You will be powerful and influential, and utterly, completely alone. And every young person who looks at you will think, I want to be like him. And some of them will call out to the water just like you did. And I will answer just like I answered you. And this is your purpose now, Chiki. Not to be happy, but to be an example." And so, Chiki lived. He lived for 60 more years. He became a legend in the coastal regions, the richest man anyone had ever known, the most successful trader, the most powerful merchant. People wrote songs about his wealth. They told stories of his success. Young men looked at him with envy and ambition. If only they could see the truth. If only they could see him at night, alone in his grand compound, surrounded by riches but utterly isolated. If only they could see him standing before Mami Wata's shrine, begging for release that would never come. If only they could see the ring on his finger, the ring he could never remove, pulsing with a faint blue light that reminded him every moment of every day that he was owned. On his deathbed, at the age of 82, Chike lay in his expensive bed in his luxurious compound, surrounded by distant relatives who had come only to see what they might inherit. And Mami Wata appeared one final time. She sat beside him, stroked his white hair, smiled down at his withered face. "You have served me well, my husband," she whispered. "Now comes your reward." "You mean death, finally?" "Oh no," she laughed. "I told you, your soul is mine. Your spirit will come to my kingdom now. You will serve me in the waters. You will help me seduce others, just as I seduced you.
You will be my ambassador to the mortal world, appearing in dreams, whispering promises, luring the ambitious and desperate into my service. Your work is not ending, it is only beginning. And so, Chike drew his last breath. But the story doesn't end there either, because in the coastal villages, they say you can still see Chike sometimes. On moonlit nights when the water is calm and the beach is empty, a figure appears. A man, neither young nor old, dressed in fine clothes with a ring that glows on his finger. He approaches people who sit alone by the water, people who are struggling, people who are desperate, people who are willing to do anything to escape their circumstances. And he whispers to them, "I know someone who can help you. I know someone who grants wishes. Would you like to meet her?" And if they say yes, the water begins to sing, and a woman emerges, beautiful beyond description, and the cycle continues. Because Mami Wata is patient, Mami Wata is eternal, and Mami Wata is always collecting. Now, you might be thinking this is just one story, just one man's tragedy. But let me tell you, Chike is not alone. Across Africa, across the Caribbean, across the Americas, wherever African people carry their traditions and their stories, there are tales of Mami Wata. In Nigeria, they speak of market women who became impossibly wealthy overnight, then went mad within a year. In Benin, they tell of fishermen who caught endless fish, but whose children all drowned mysteriously. In Haiti, they whisper of women who became irresistibly beautiful, but could never bear children. In Brazil, they know the stories of men who gained supernatural business success, but lost the ability to love. Every story is different in its details, but they all have the same ending. Mami Wata gives you what you want, and then she takes everything that matters. Some people say Mami Wata is evil, that she's a demon who preys on human weakness. But the elders say something different. They say Mami Wata is not evil. She is simply a force of nature, like the ocean itself, beautiful and dangerous, life-giving and deadly. She offers exactly what she promises: wealth, power, beauty, success. She never lies, she never tricks, she is completely honest about the bargain. The tragedy is that humans always think they can handle the price. They think they can worship her and keep their freedom. They think they can accept her gifts and maintain their relationships. They think they can outsmart a being as old as the waters themselves. They are always wrong. So here's the lesson, if you're willing to hear it. When you are desperate, when you're struggling, when you're at your lowest point, and you cry out to the universe for help, be very careful what answers. Because not all help is helpful. Not all gifts are blessings. Not all bargains are fair, even when they're honest. Mami Wata offers you the fulfillment of your material desires. But material desires are not what make us human. Love makes us human. Connection makes us human. Community makes us human. Freedom makes us human. And those are the very things Mami Wata's bargain takes away. The elders say there are ways to protect yourself from Mami Wata's influence. Never swim alone at night. Never call out to the water in desperation. Never make promises you don't understand. Never accept gifts from beautiful strangers who appear near water. And most importantly, never ever believe that wealth and power are worth more than love and freedom. Because once you accept that belief, once you decide that material success is the highest good, you've already made the bargain in your heart. And Mami Wata can smell that from miles away. She's in the water, always listening, always watching, always waiting for someone to call out. Someone ambitious enough, desperate enough, foolish enough. Someone just like Chiki. So the next time you are by the water, on a beach or a river or a lake, and you feel that pull, that strange desire to walk into the waves, to swim out beyond safety, to test yourself against the depths,
remember this story. Remember Chike, who gained the world and lost his soul. Remember that some bargains can't be broken. Remember that some debts can never be paid. Remember that Mami Wata is real. Maybe not in the way we usually think of real. Maybe not in a way you can photograph or measure or prove, but real in the way that matters. Real in the way that changes lives. Real in the way that claims souls. And if you ever see a ring on someone's finger that seems to move like water, that glows faintly blue in certain light, that they never ever take off, you know they made the bargain. They belong to her, and there's nothing anyone can do to save them. This is the tale of Mami Wata, told around fires for generations, whispered in warnings to young people, remembered in prayers and offerings to the water spirits, the beautiful goddess who grants every wish and demands everything in return. May you be wise enough never to meet her. May you be strong enough never to call her. May you be blessed enough never to need her. But if you do meet her, if she does rise from the water and offer you your heart's desire, remember Chiki and choose carefully, because some choices last forever. Thank you for listening to this ancient warning. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear it, especially someone who's struggling, someone who is desperate, someone who might be tempted to pay any price for success. And remember, true wealth is not in your bank account. It's in your freedom to love, to choose, and to remain your own person. If you value the stories our elders warned us about, subscribe and help keep these traditions alive. And tell us in the comments, what warning did your elders give you as a child? Remember, some stories are not meant to scare you, but to protect you. These are the stories our elders warned us about.